Hey everybody, here's the schedule for my book review channel for the month of October 2020. So this is going to be kind of a different month for me. So I'm going to start with the graphic novel for Babysitter's Club number 5, which is hidden behind my book. All my books fell over. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll just say it's a Babysitter's Club graphic novel number 5. So I've got my review for that. 2020 has just been a mess, so I've been on the waiting list for graphic novel number 5 for like 6 months, maybe 7 months now, so I finally got it, and I did my review for it. Also, I'm going to be posting my review for Babysitter's Little Sister graphic novel number 2. So I'm going to start off with the 2 graphic novels, that's what the month is going to start with, and then I'm just going to read Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde for pretty much the entire month. Yeah, I was commissioned to read Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I think the person wanted a book review, but no, I'm doing an audiobook. This channel is called Arglefunf Reads, and I've been wanting to do an audiobook for a while. I really wanted to do Edgar Allan Poe's The Mask of Red Death. Or is it The Red Mask of Death? Oh, whatever the name of that short story is. I thought it'd be easy to do a short story, but hey, it's Halloween's month, so we're gonna do the spooky Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It takes about 2.5 hours to read, so I'm gonna post each chapter as its own video. Each chapter is, there are 10 chapters. There are 10 chapters in total, so it's not so bad. And then at the end of the month, I've got all the various commissions. So I'm going to be reading Madge, The Missing Formula, which I just finished yesterday. So that was a pretty good book. Lara number 3. So the third book in this series, you know, All the Boys I've Loved Before. So it's the end of that trilogy. Another number 3 book. Okay, so Franny K Stein number 3, The Invisible Fran. And then Among the Hidden, which I have not read yet. So I guess I need to read Among the Hidden. I also need to read this. So those will be my main reading projects for this month, I suppose. So let's talk about last month. Last month, September, was just kind of a mess. I know the year 2020 has been a mess for everybody, but, you know, the entire West Coast was on fire, and the smoke was really terrible, and so that was just like 2 weeks of my life just completely eaten up. We were in the evacuation zone. We didn't have to evacuate, but we did get evacuation warnings. I got 3 of them on my phone, and just the smoke was just so bad for like the 2 weeks afterwards. Finally it rained, and that sort of cleared things up, but it was so bad, it really messed with my head. So I was going to sleep early every day, and I had to lie down a lot. It was just really nasty. So I wasn't able to do a lot of work this past month. That's what I'm trying to say. And as I say that, I've got a list of like 20 different books I read, so whatever. So I read 3 books in the Anna and Elsa series, so that's the Frozen series. So I read A Warm Welcome, which is just a terrible book. It's a terrible book. They go to, you know, a Middle Eastern country, and they're surprised that it doesn't snow there. That's basically the story. And the Polar Bear Piper, which is just a terrible mystery. It's just a terrible mystery. Anna is a terrible detective, and they try to say, oh, it's just like Nancy Drew. They call her Nancina Drood because they don't want to break any copyright laws. But yeah, do you see these Nancy Drew books? Much better than the Polar Bear Piper. And The Ice Engine, which was a pretty good book. That was a decent book. It was a Wandering Oaken book, so Oaken really hasn't been seen in the series. So it was nice to see him, and the book was interesting. Okay, so I read the graphic novel for Frozen 2, so that was okay. And I read Frozen Adventures. So these are like 2 graphic novels. They're basically like Archie comics. Let's see if I can find an Archie comic here. Yep, I got it. So, it's like Archie comics where, you know, we've got a bunch of 1-page comics, sometimes we've got 2-page comics, and then we've got a bunch of comics that are like 3, you know, 6 to 10 pages long. So that's what the Frozen Adventures graphic novels are like. They're basically just unrelated comics. Some of them are short, some of them are longer. They were all taken from like various different sources. So some were taken from like Joe's books, I'm told they did a series of comics in Canada, and then the Frozen magazine, which I never read either, but I'm told they had comics in those. So anyway, I read two of the Frozen Adventures books, which are just comics collections. There's one more which I hope to get. I read Babysitter's Club number 102, Mary Ann and the Little Princess, which is okay. You know, I thought the book was just fine. A lot of people hate the book. I really dislike the ending portion of the book where they go to New York for like 3 chapters and they're like, oh my gosh, New York is super amazing. And they visit the exact same 3 tourist traps that they visited like 3 books earlier in Stacy's Broken Heart. They visit the museum, they visit the park, and they go shopping. And Stacy did those 3 books ago. They do the exact same thing in book 102, and that really annoyed me. But I was fine with the rest of the book. Apparently, most readers were just annoyed throughout the entire book. But overall, I thought it was good. I read Babysitter's Little Sister number 9 and 10, so that's cool. Yeah, let's see. You see my Babysitter's Little Sister collection sort of ends with book number 11 here. Yeah, it goes to book number 11 and then book number 17. So I'm still waiting on book number 12. I ordered it 2 months ago and it still hasn't shown up. So I don't know if I'll be able to continue these Little Sister books. But I figured, you know, I just read all the way up to number 17 and then just sort of stop doing Little Sisters. That seems like a decent enough chunk of the series, right? So then I read, with Rainbow Magic Fairies, Rainbow Magic Fairy, Juliet the Valentine's Day Fairy, which is a fantastic book, actually. I feel weird saying that because it's a Rainbow Magic book and they're usually terrible, but this one was really, really good. Okay, this is like A++ for the series. I think part of the reason is because it was written by totally different people. So most of the Rainbow Magic Fairy books are written by these 2 people in the United Kingdom. So they wrote like basically just like 2 people in the United Kingdom writing the first 100 or so books. So Juliet the Valentine's Day Fairy is written by somebody in America, so it was like the second book written by an actual American, and maybe that's the reason I like it so much. It just speaks to me because I'm American, and, you know, as opposed to being a 4-year-old girl in the United Kingdom, who is the target audience of all the other Rainbow Magic Fairy books. So, I read Juliet the Valentine's Fairy book, great book. Kirsty and Rachel fight with each other the entire time, and it's hilarious. And then the Ocean Fairy series, read books, so that's books number 85 through 91. Not a fan of the Ocean Fairy series. It's kind of not a very good idea. It's just another Find the Magical Animal series, but it's also tied with a Find the Magical Item series. And the magical item is just a piece of a shell. It's just a piece of a shell. The magical animals find the shell pieces, and the animals do all the work. The girls basically do nothing. I get it. It's just supposed to be an excuse to have a bunch of pictures of cute animals, and it works for the most part. It's just still super boring and formulaic, and I just did not like it. So, thumbs down to the Ocean Fairy series. In general, there are a handful of books. There are like 2 to 3 of those books that were good, but it's a 7-book series, so most of them were just garbage. And then I read Franny K Stein, books 3 through 5. So the Invisible Fran and the Fran That Time Forgot were both great books. And then the 5th one, Fantastic Voyage, I didn't like that. I just did not like it. For whatever reason, I didn't like that book. I've got the other Franny K Stein books coming in to me at the library. I'm gonna go pick them up today. I started reading this book, Catwoman Soul Stealer. Kind of interesting. It's not exactly a Batman book. It's a Batwing book. Haven't read any Batwing comics. I didn't know he was a Batman character, to be honest. I'm kind of iffy on the secondary Batman characters, so a lot of them I've like seen once or twice in a movie, like Red Hood, but I don't remember them outside of the movie. So, people didn't like my reviews for the other superhero books, so the Wonder Woman one and the Batman one. Everybody said, hey, do the review for Wonder Woman, but then nobody watched the review. And I'm like, no! But that's okay, you know, I can still read this book on my own if I want. I don't have to do a review for it, I guess. I might as well, but I think that's it. So, thanks for watching, everybody. That's what's going on with my book review channel. This month is mostly the strange case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.